This is VOCM Open Line. Call 709-273-5211 or 1-888-590-8626. The views and opinions of this program are not necessarily those of this station. The biggest conversation in Newfoundland and Labrador starts now.
And good morning, everyone. Linda Swain in with you on VOCM Open Line. Hope you're having a grand day. It's a little chilly out there, so, zip up the coat is all I can tell you. Dave, remember when you were in high school? I don't know about you, but I know I was like it. You go out on the bus stop and you're so cool. It's like minus 25 and you got your jacket open. Like, what? Youth is wasted on the young, as they say. But anyway, so the Auditor General has found that what a lot of people have long believed to be true. Denise Hanrahan has issued a report on NL Housing's housing inventory and its management, and she's extremely concerned about NL Housing's ability to support the people and the families that it serves. She's found that the waitlist for public housing grew from 1,523 households to 2,603 during the 4-year audit period her office examined. That is from 2021 to 2025. That's a 71% increase in the wait list. And I don't need to tell you, this show and social media is full of people looking for housing. And we've been talking about it for years. Provincial governments and politicians have been talking about it for years. Why are we at this stage? So the wait list has increased by 71%, but the housing supply has dropped by 57 units. And you don't have to go very far to see houses boarded up and just sitting there empty. Some of them require a lot of work. Some of them require not so much work. But why are we at this stage? In fact, the inventory that we have right now is at the same level it was back in 2008. That's 17 years ago. And how much have things changed since then? Well, as of the end of 2025, NL Housing's portfolio consisted of just over 5,200 units. That was housing just over 12,000 people. And there were also 222 vacant units and 72 units which were not available for use. So in other words, I guess boarded up and awaiting significant repairs. Hanrahan says the corporation's policies are outdated or insufficient. It failed to consistently monitor and manage its housing inventory. Inspections were not completed as required. Gaps between occupancy took months. And some other surprising findings: of those waiting for housing, 361 were waiting for 2 years or more. One household was waiting for 7.5 years to get adequate housing. The AG also found that the corporation did not have a policy or a formal process to direct and manage the reconfiguration of its social renting housing units. That's a problem. It's a boring thing to talk about, policies, but policy is what drives all of these decisions. Some units were much bigger than the needs of the tenant. 55% of tenants in occupied units were overhoused. Now, that's a bureaucratic word, but essentially what it means is that you're living in a house that's too big for you. In other words, you only need one bedroom, you might have three. The AG also found that the corporation did not have a plan to guide the sale of vacant units, and units were sold in areas where there was a clear demand for social rental housing, going against their own policy. All of these things are problematic and lead to the situation that we're finding ourselves in now, and that is that there is this great need for social housing, and yet the inventory is not there to meet the need. I was listening to what Jody Wall, the minister responsible for NL Housing, was saying, and one of the things that he threw out there was the fact that back in 2018, 14 positions were eliminated from NL Housing, including some what sounds like key positions. The Director of Administration and Property Services, the Manager of Property Management, the Assistant Manager of Modernization, Improvement and Vacancies, and the Provincial Maintenance Coordinator. So how that was dealt with and whether those roles were filled or met remains to be seen, but it certainly sounds like those were key type roles that might have helped to, I guess, better manage this situation. Anyway, if you have any thoughts on that, you're certainly welcome to give us a call. And I know that housing is a big issue here in Newfoundland and Labrador. Not to mention that I know social media is rife with complaints about some tenants taking up space in NL Housing and using it for nefarious purposes, if you know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, we'll move on. Canada's population dropped last year. It's the first population drop since Confederation, that's Canadian Confederation, in 1867. The population of citizens, landed immigrants, and non-permanent residents in Canada was just over 41 million as of January 1st of 2026. That's a drop of 0.2% or 102,000 people from the previous year. The population actually increased by over 77,000 people in the first 6 months, but it wasn't enough to make up for the drop of almost 180,000 in the second half of the year. And the drop is due to a reduction in the number of non-permanent residents. As StatsCan said, it was the leading factor in slowing population growth. Well, I guess we have a problem if a reduction in non-permanent residents is leading to the first population drop in the country since Confederation with Canada. We're obviously not reproducing at the levels that we should be. That's no surprise and no secret for a variety of reasons. And we're having to rely more and more, or this need is out there for temporary foreign workers to fill positions that are needed in the workforce. And yet, we saw clearly that some of the programs that were set up for temporary foreign workers and the like were being abused in different ways. And, we have a country that's based on certain rules and regulations and the like, but there's a whole element in society, of course, that is not worried about that and will try to circumvent and get around policies that are well-intended. So anyway, we saw a lot of that going on, and we're continuing to see that happening. Anyway, if you have any thoughts on that, you're welcome to give us a call. But how can we address our demographic needs and build up the appropriate number of newcomers coming into the country and helping them feel supported and helping them feel like they belong, and getting them in the workforce and getting them settled in and becoming Canadian citizens? Are we doing a good enough job in that regard? Throw that question out there for you. And the Bank of Canada has held its key interest rate at 2.25%, but Governor Tiff Macklem is warning, with the current war in Iran and the Gulf of Hormuz continuing to be blocked to many ships, oil prices are expected to continue to rise. And he says the impacts on inflation could get worse. For instance, if the shipment of fertilizer is blocked, and that affects a very broad range of aspects of the economy, including groceries and food items and meeting the need for food and all that sort of stuff. So troubling circumstances indeed. There's lots more on the go. I'm going to leave it there for now, but the lines are open. I'd like to hear what you have to say about anything that I've raised, anything that we've raised over the last couple of days, or anything that's on your mind and you'd like to get off your chest. Give us a call. And we are back. We're going to start the show this morning with James. You're on the air. Hi, James.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. I was looking to talk about the Graduate Students Union. They're in a bit of a crisis, and I was just had some questions that I haven't heard anybody talking about regarding if they were to actually dissolve the union.
Okay, so what's going on?
So the Graduate Students Union has accumulated a lot of debt through the mismanagement of people's union dues, and there's a lot of people talking about wanting to get rid of it. And I just am wondering, I don't know, just putting this out into the world, I don't think the debt would just go away if you got rid of it. If you dissolve the union, these insurance companies are still going to come to their money, and I'm worried about them coming after graduate students for it. And also, the next issue is people are paying $40 a year or they're talking about raising the union dues to $40. And if you got rid of the union, you would still need your medical insurance. So you'd need to go to private insurance then, and that would cost $600 to $1,000 after a quick Google search, and for your insurance. And yeah. Seems like a bad trade.
I have to say, I'm kind of trying to play catch up here with you because it's an issue that hasn't come to my attention at all on any level. How many members does the Graduate Students Union have? Do you have any idea?
I couldn't tell you that, but I know there are lots of grad students at MUN, so it wouldn't cover the undergraduates, which is the vast majority of the student population. But there are still, I don't know, I would say there's still a couple thousand graduate students in the union. I really don't know the actual number, though.
And I assume you're a member?
I'm actually an undergrad, but I have a lot of friends who are graduate students, and I'm just concerned about how this would affect them, and I just haven't heard anybody talking about how it would affect them in actual reality.
So the union is on the brink of collapse? Is that what you're trying to say?
That's what the graduate students are wanting to reform. The actual members of the Graduate Students Union, the executive, are trying to raise student fees to cover off, to pay $1 million in debt to health insurance companies that former administrations have incurred. And there's this other faction now who are trying to, I think it's the teaching assistants union, who are trying to now bring forward a motion to dissolve the union completely.
I see. So yeah, there's a lot of factors happening there.
Yeah, and sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you go ahead. That's fine. Finish your thought.
Okay. TAs would also lose their collective bargaining power, and there's just no immediate plan for, transition. If it seems to, I've talked to a few graduate students, and it seems to be a popular idea to dissolve it, and I'm just worried about, what would happen to their health insurance, what would happen to collective bargaining for TAs, what would happen to the debt, who would pay for the debt, because that's not going anywhere. And yeah, I don't know. It just seems like there's a lot of factors that the pro-dissolvers aren't really talking about either.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and it affects, as you indicated, quite a few people.
Yeah, that's what it seems like to me. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've got.
So you're an undergraduate now, and you say you know a lot of people who are graduate students. Are you, worried about what will be there when you get to that stage?
Yeah, certainly. Health insurance for your prescriptions, your dental plan, any kind of that thing is really expensive. I mean, I Googled it this morning. It's $600 to $1,000 for private health insurance for students. And, yeah, that's a lot of money compared to $40.
Yeah, for sure. And, at such a critical juncture in your life, that's a big help.
Yep, for sure.
Well, James, I'm glad you raised it. I'd like to hear what others have to say about it. Maybe we can get a hold of some pro and anti-dissolving people, for want of a better term.
That's what I came up with. I don't know. I've never called into the radio before.
Well, you did a great job, by the way, James.
Right.
Yeah, I'd like to hear what others have to say. And if you in your circles, if anybody wants to call in the show and give their opinions on it as well, they're welcome to do so.
Yeah, I'd love to hear some people that I know call into the radio.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. James, thanks for this.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Bye. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I'd like to hear what people have to say about that. Should that union be dissolved? And if it does get dissolved, what are the consequences? We are going to go now to Tim. You're on the air. Hi, Tim.
Hi, good morning, Linda. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Wonderful, actually. Outside of a flu, so I apologize. My voice is a little scratchy this morning, but it is what it is, right?
I know it's great radio voice. Go ahead.
Oddly enough, I've heard that before. But anyway, I'm calling just as a follow-up from last Friday. I was speaking to Tim there with regards to the Mount Pearl Men's Recreational Hockey League's 50th anniversary. And I just wanted to do a quick little follow-up just to drive home a few points, if that was fine with you. We won't take up much of your time.
No, go right ahead.
Yeah, okay, so we are holding our 50th anniversary dinner and dance on March the 28th, which is a Saturday, at the Reed Center in Mount Pearl. We have Vic and the Ball Points playing. Boy, are we ever excited about that. I've never seen them. All my buddies have seen them. I haven't. I'm looking forward to it. Big music buff. It is $40 double, $20 single. Now, the reason I say that is we're still out there looking for past members. Like, this league started in 1976. We've reached out to a lot of members who are probably not playing hockey anymore. Maybe their fathers or grandfathers played in the league. And we're going to continue that drive and see how many more we can reach. And we're inviting as many as we can for this great celebration as well. So that's part of what my call is for today. Happy to leave a phone number there. Our president, Steve McDonald, is doing a great job with this, and the entire executive for the league. Is it okay to leave his number there, or will I leave it with you off air?
You can leave that with Dave, obviously, because it's not your phone number. But how many people are involved in rec hockey right now in Mount Pearl?
Well, for this league, as I've said, it's 50 years. We started off back in the 70s. I'm saying we. I wasn't playing back in the 70s. I could have, I suppose. It's a 37 years of age and older. We have 8 teams, all sponsored. Molson's is our main sponsor for the league, and they've been absolutely incredible. We have sponsors. Oh, my goodness. I could go down through the list of them. I did all that last week. Wasn't prepped to do that right now, but I can. 8 teams. We have, I think, 11 or 12 players per team. So we're close to 100 players each year. And the thing about this league, it's such a great league. Referees, sponsors, the city of Mount Pearl and the Glacier staff there have been fantastic as well. We have 30 or 40 people, guys that are waiting on our wait list that are just looking to get into the league itself. So it's a very well established, very well ran league, and we are really excited about meeting up with some of the players who some of them are well into their 70s and 80s now. So it's quite exciting.
So what motivates these players to join the league? Is it just a desire to stay active? Is it a love of hockey? Is it a competitive drive to keep at it?
It's a combination of all of that and more. As I said last week, we're all boys. When we step onto the rink, we kind of all morph back into that little 8, 9, 10, 12-year-old, and you're still excited to play and get out there. And it's a recreational league, but it's competitive. I mean, I don't know. I've played sports all my life, as most of these guys did, and you come to play and win. It's a no contact league, no slap shots. You have to wear a face mask. Safety is a priority. And there's a draft every year, guys. You could end up on a different team, different players, or similar players. It's a great mix every year. The competitiveness is there. I don't know if anybody ever really loses that as you age with sport, if you played sport all of your life. But it's just fun. It's the camaraderie. It's the friendship. It's the fundraising we do as groups outside of the hockey. There are offshoots with guys that'll play in a Monday night skate or a pickup skate on a Saturday or a Sunday or a Thursday, and it's just we talk about things. We talk about our families and our work and retirement, and it's just it's great to sit in a room and poke fun at each other. And each week, somebody else is the target of that little dig. Maybe they tripped or they fell or they just missed an open net. So it's that give and take, that push and pull, and those laughs that keep bringing us back every week, every Tuesday. It's incredible. I call it the best men's club that I've ever been involved with. It's actually fantastic.
And some of your members, were they competitive players at some stage in their lives? Did they make it to higher levels?
We have players that never played hockey until very late in life, such as myself. I started playing at 39, 40. That's when I started playing ice hockey. And we have guys that have played junior and senior high school. We got guys that have traveled as a younger hockey player, maybe played outside the province in various leagues and had tryouts at Q's and some semi or professional areas as well. So there's a great combination, guys that are in their, say, 37 and older, upwards of late 60s, early 70s, with just a vast background in the sport. A lot of them are dads whose kids play and whose grandkids now play in various leagues throughout the province, and they coach. There's a lot of coaches in our league, and just hockey people, and it's a great environment, a great family. So that's part of the reason why I'm calling, is to let people know about what we are as a group when we are having this 50th on the 28th. And we are looking for people who have been involved with this community here in Mount Pearl with our hockey league, and we want them to reach out to us.
What motivated you to get involved in hockey so late in life? That seems extraordinary to me, because it's such a fine set of skills that you need to play hockey. I'm
still working on those fine set of skills.
No doubt. So there must be a lot of trepidation. I mean, just standing up on the ice on a pair of skates for someone who's never done it before is difficult. So how do you get into hockey at the age of 37 or 38?
I was probably 38, 39, maybe 40. I was anyway. Regardless, when you get up that age, look, I'm from a big family. We never had much growing up. Hockey was expensive. I played a lot of other sports, so at a fairly high competitive level, had multiple sports. So I don't think the transition for me was that big of a deal. Skating is unique, and I'm still not great at it, but I have been welcomed into this family of some incredible hockey players. And I just wanted to do it. It's the one that got off my bucket list. And a good friend of mine who I work with, and our kids went to school together, I'm not going to mention his name. He's well known. Anyway, he asked me one time, he said, do you play? And long story short, I went up. We kind of got me started, and I was described as when I first started, I was described as a baby moose stepping on the frozen pond on ice. So that's
Bambi.
the description.
You were Bambi.
But I was Bambi. I'm not so much Bambi anymore, but Yeah, it was incredible to get that started. And I, to be honest with you, I've been a fan of hockey all my life, and there are guys in the league that who are exceptionally gifted hockey players, have been all their life. The beauty about our league, it doesn't matter. It does not matter about your skill level. The puck comes to you from guys who have a decades-long history, who are just incredible skaters and players, and they look at you like no, there's no difference, and that's the beauty about it. We all count, we all matter, and the most important thing is once the game is over, we shake hands, we head back to our locker rooms, and we laugh, and we have a good time, and we go home lighter, we go home healthier, we go home stronger. Better for our families, better for us, and I recommend it to anyone who can get out and just be active. Especially, I'm turning 60 this year. We got guys that are older than me, younger than me. Just be out there, be active, and be involved with your community and give back, and that's part of what our league does as well. So.
Well, it sounds so rewarding, I have to say. So you're celebrating your 50th anniversary. Just imagine now, March 28th.
Yeah.
I'll put you on hold, Tim, if you don't mind, Tim Ford, and we will get Dave to take down those numbers if anybody's interested.
That would be super. And thank you, Linda. I appreciate your time and allowing me to come out this morning.
Yes, no problem at all. I'm going to put you back on hold now, and the next person you're talking to is Dave. So there you go. Tim Ford, Mount Pearl Men's Hockey, celebrating their 50th anniversary. Just imagine, a recreational hockey league, I should say. That's, I remember... because I have a young fella in hockey, so I'm used to watching a lot of very young legs going up and down the ice very quickly, and was witness to a rec league not that long ago, and it's a different pace. I have to give it to you, but man, weren't they having fun. They were having so much fun. Anyway. Anyone out there who has joined sport later in life or is continuing to participate in sport after, their high school days are over, I'd like to hear what your experience is and what kind of sports would be good for someone who wants to keep active and competitive and vital and all of those good things. We have a few lines open. Now is your chance to give us a call. And we're back on VOCM Open Line. What an interesting start to the show, from a crisis in the Graduate Students Union at Memorial University to recreational hockey in Mount Pearl. Now we're going to go to the MHA for Corner Brook, Mr. Jim Parsons. Hello, Jim.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Not too bad. I'll be better tomorrow when I'm back on the beautiful West Coast.
Oh, there you go. Do you miss it? Do you miss it having to work in here?
Listen, it is a bit of a strain with my family, my young kids, and so we're back and forth every week. Our house sits for a number of weeks. We'll be here till the end of May, but I tell you what, it's a fantastic learning curve for me as a new MHA, and I'm really enjoying it. It's really interesting, and I really like to sort of, stretching new political muscles.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what do you make of the cut and thrust of question period, for instance, compared to sitting around a council table?
It is definitely there is definitely a lot of theater to the House of Assembly, of course. But you know what? It's again there's an important process there. Some things are not what I expected. Some things are. What people see on the broadcast is a lot different sometimes than what you see in the House if you're there live. So if you ever have the chance, I'd highly recommend coming to see how a day works, and it is very interesting. And I hope that I can get some things done for my constituents, of course, but there's also broader issues that I have interest in. And yesterday is a really good example. We talked a lot that we had a private member's resolution around using MCP for healthcare and not partisan political advice. Of course, we're talking about the Des Whalen issue.
Yeah, so it was raised and debated, but do you feel like it's getting any headway whatsoever? I think the point that MCP being used for a position within the Premier's office is a legitimate one, but it doesn't seem to be resonating, and I'm not hearing the public really discussing it either.
I'm hearing the public in my district discussing it. I think that every day we're talking about healthcare in the House of Assembly. It's a huge issue for our province. We have an aging population, great need when it comes to healthcare, and so this whole idea really, as a new MHA, it really took me aback when this decision was made, not to hire Mr. Whalen. He's a long-time PC loyalist, and that's fair. That's every government does that. But the idea of using MCP dollars, I think, really, it's really disappointing. It's really, I find it embarrassing, and I stated this yesterday in the House as well. When decisions like that are made, and it causes people to distrust government, it really is the worst kind of patronage. It's not hiring someone for political advice, but it's about hiring someone using healthcare dollars, then doubling down and saying, "Oh no, he's giving healthcare advice," when it's clear he's not. So this is not for me. This is this so far is the biggest issue that I really disappointed me, and so I felt I had to say something about it.
Was there a difficulty involved, I wonder, and I'm just throwing this out there speculatively because I only know what's already out there in the public, but was there a difficulty involved in the fact that he is also a practicing physician and trying to figure out how he is compensated?
Well, I don't. Again, I have great respect for physicians, and I hear that Des Whalen is a fantastic physician, but it's about. Look, there is a budget, okay? To be clear, public servants generally are not allowed to act in a partisan manner. Of course, we trust them to do work in a nonpartisan way, be fair to everyone. But there are political support staff, and there are rules in the House for how you hire them and what they get paid. This is outside of that. This is not even close. Other staffers in the Premier's office don't get paid near this money, and it's definitely not coming at MCP. I've never, we're not aware of anyone ever being paid like this. Doctors can work in government, and there's provision for doctors to work in government, but not in a political role, in providing technical advice, things like that. This is clearly different, and I know government is trying to muddy the water in this. I really didn't suspect them to keep this person in that position, paid this way for this long. I quite frankly, it astounds me. And then doubling down and tripling down on, he's giving healthcare advice. No, he's not. You paid doctors like this before? No, this has never happened before. And as a new MHA, I'm more interested in the future, too. I'm not interested in the past. I wasn't part of the last government. So if you want to just deflect blame on the previous administration, that doesn't interest me. What interests me is doing things right. And this is clearly a principled issue that's done wrong, and it's embarrassing for us as politicians.
So what do you make of government's response to some of these questions and inquiries to date? I mean, it's obvious, as you say, they're doubling down, and they don't appear to be, set to change the current circumstance. So, I mean, how much longer does the opposition, which has a very vital role to play in the House of Assembly, how much longer does the opposition continue to beat on this drum?
Well, I don't think this issue is going to end until this is resolved. Like I said, this is a really important principle, and it is about trust in government. And I think, you know what, and I recommend that government reconsider this. Just, again, to establish trust with their new administration. This is a terrible way to start off a four-year term. I really think we have a hard enough time right now when it comes to political engagement, communications and things like that, and getting people to embrace the political process. But when things like that happen, and when I hear people, I hear these flippant remarks all the time, oh, you're all the same, and that's just the way you do it. No, we're not. It's not all the same, and there is important differences, and there are important principles that we should uphold. I think government, and I think the 40 members of the House are principled people. I think they are. They're in it for the right reasons. This is a political blunder. It makes us all look bad, and it's about an issue that is so important to so many people. Like, I can't tell you, we're getting so many calls and emails and every day to my constituency office and to me about issues. While the debate was going on yesterday, I was getting emails from people dealing with healthcare issues and really about lack of resources and issues that could be solved. So it's heartbreaking, really, and I want to keep this up. Like I said, this is not theater. This is not to score political points. This is a real issue. I feel that we're really on the right side of this issue.
So more of the same in QP today?
I can't speak for that. That's top secret. That's part of the that's part of the drama that happens at 1:30 or 2 every day, and we'll see, of course, but. No, I think this is an important issue, and I really think that government should rectify this and do the right thing here.
Is there any kind of? I'll ask you this because it might not be fair of me to ask you this because you're new to the process. But is there any kind of an oversight or anything in those regards when it comes to circumvention of these types of protocols and rules?
Well, the ultimate oversight is the House, of course. Now, whether or not it is very difficult. The House has to police itself to a large extent. The budget, there is a set budget for the Premier's office staff. I think it's about $1.8 million, something like that. That's for political support staff. That's political advice, right? And that's set out in budget. And so there are also rules about how they're supposed to be paid. There's policy and Treasury Board policy and pay scales for the staff that work in these offices. If the Premier wants to do this, he really would have to make changes to policy. Not to be pedantic, but this is breaking the rules, all the rules. And besides breaking all the rules, again, it's a matter of trust and a matter of the message it sends to the people of Newfoundland and Labrador when it comes to how much we value healthcare and understanding the difference between a politically motivated political support staff and a public servant. Mr. Whalen is employed to give political partisan advice. He is there to help the Premier and the PC party look good. And there's nothing wrong with that on its face, but that money shouldn't come out of healthcare. It's a lot of money. We're talking about $100,000 more than anyone else can get paid in a position like that under current policy. So it is, it's just not the right way to do it, and it sends the wrong message.
Jim Parsons, I do appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure, Linda. Talk to you soon.
Alrighty. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We're going to take a very short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the food fishery coming up right after this. And we're back. We're going to go now to Sam. You're on the air. Hi, Sam.
Good morning, Linda, and welcome back in the chair again. Nice to hear you back there. Doing a great job again.
I appreciate that.
Linda, yes. I wanted to speak about the recreation fishery again this morning, all right? Because I contacted DFO last week, and I asked them about any decision getting closer or anything like that. And they did have the largest survey response that they ever survey that was done. But their answer is that they're still studying it. No, I find that a little bit hard because when the survey was out, all the talk was going to be looked at, and the announcement was going to be made early and not like every other year. Waiting until probably close to the end of June before we would get an announcement. But now with the moratorium over and everything, right, everybody is expecting some changes in the way that was carried out, because on weekends it's really hard because the weather could be fine all during the week. You can't get out, or you can go out, and then some Friday evening comes, the wind comes up and everything, right? And for the weekend, most of the time you can't get out on the water, not one for to be really safe, right?
So
and
what specifically changes? What specific changes would you like to see? I presume it's going to be all week.
Yes, that's the change that we really need to see, that you can go out 7 days a week. We don't have a moratorium anymore. Double the quotas last year for the fishery, and I know they had to give the foreign boats and everything a quota too. I don't understand that part. That's all part of the federal government doing. But we can't get out at all most of the time, because if you're waiting and trying to get a really nice day to take your family out on water and everything, catch a few fish for food, because one time it used to be called a recreation fishery. It's not a recreation fishery anymore. It's a food fishery. People need it to put on their tables. And if people are working weekends, things like that, they can't get out. So they're discriminated against. So if you're working every second weekend or anything like that, your chances of getting out on the water is very low. Right? So I was hoping that by now that we would have had a decision on it already, right? That you'll make an announcement, come out, make those changes, and I think it would be great for Newfoundland and Labrador. We need those changes. We got to be treated like the rest of Canada. Every other province can go out during the week, 7 days a week, and go catch their fish. And we here in Newfoundland, just a few measly days during the summers on weekends, if you're lucky enough to get out.
You said they're still studying it. What I assume is happening is they're trying to figure out if they have the resources to keep it monitored, 24/7, week after week here in Newfoundland and Labrador, because I think even they were surprised at how important it is to Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. In other parts of Atlantic Canada, it's like, it's not part of the, fabric, I suppose. Yeah, but here it's such a vital part of the way we understand ourselves.
Exactly, right? But the part was, once if they announce and say, look, you can go out every 7 days a week, catch a few fish. After the first 2 or 3 weeks, you're not going to see half the people out there on the water. So monitoring part, I don't think there would be a problem with. And because there's only so much fish that you are going to be able to put in your freezers. And there's only so much fish that you're going to dry that you can end up having different meals during the winter months and everything, right? So I figure that would probably be down in half the amount of people going out there. after the first couple of weeks, because you got to have somewhere to store it. People are not going to just go out and buy fridges just for the sake of oh God, I can go out 7 days a week now, right? No,
well,
that's not going to happen.
There's storage, and then there's the whole other. Then there's getting rid of it. In other words, selling it. So I think that's an aspect of this conversation that not a lot of people like to admit. But there's people out there who are selling it, obviously, and that can't happen.
Oh dear. That is definitely. I understand that too, right? There is people going to sell the fish, right? But one of the biggest, the other problems that I see with this is the regular fishermen, because the regular fishermen do not want to see a recreational or food fishery on the go during the summer. They don't even like to see it now, just on the weekends and stuff. The majority, now they're not all like that, right? But I can say there is the majority of it, right? And they sell enough of fish too on the side too. I know that's their livelihood and everything, right? But ever since when it came on the moratorium, every fisherman that was around just about became a plumber or became a carpenter. So if you're in your trade, there was no problem for them coming and doing the work that you're doing. But it seems like the fishermen, to me, thinks they own every fish in the ocean. It's theirs. No, it's their right to have the right to the fish that's out there. But we're doing the same thing, right? No, we should have the right to go out 7 days a week, catch our fish, when it's safe to do so. Not when it's a stormy day, when people are going out in small boats and probably overloaded and things like that. And that's when the accidents happens.
Well, Sam, we'll see what DFO has to say. What's your gut feeling on it? What are they going to come back with?
I think there's probably going to be some change, but I don't know what. And sometimes when I heard Tom Osmond on there a few weeks ago, when he was interviewed about it, and when he talked about, would have to be go and contact the Fishermen's Union and see what they would think about it, right? Now that, I got to say, I was really disgusted with Tom. No, because we don't need to go to the Fishermen's Union for the sea if it's okay for us to have a few fish, because the amount of fish that we're going to take during the food fishery is, if the stocks are that low, they should have never ever opened it last year, and double the quotas and everything, right? So for that pour off, close it down again. If you can't give the food fishery 7 days a week.
Sam, we'll leave it there, but thanks very much for your call. We'll see what others have to say about it. I'd like to hear from some commercial fishermen, see what their thoughts are on it as well. Thanks very much.
Definitely would love to. Thank you, Linda.
Okay. Bye-bye. We're up to news time now with Sarah Strickland. What are your thoughts? Give us a call. So apparently there was a fire in the city last night. It happened to be the house where a man was shot and killed in, I'm assuming shot and killed. I don't know if that was the way he died, but a man who died there on Empire Avenue. What was it, just before Christmas maybe? Anyway, I see that there's a lot of chit-chat about that going on online there now. We are going to go now to Mike. You're on the air. Hi, Mike.
Hey, good morning, Linda.
How are you?
Hope you're having a great day. I'm doing fine. Linda, just had to pipe in there this morning. Couple little topics, and I'll go through them quick because I know you got a lot of callers. But politicians in the House Assembly, they're really funny people. I don't have any personal political stripe, Liberal, PC, or NDP. The only people I give my support to are people that actually accomplish stuff. But if anybody watches what happens in the House of Assembly in this beautiful province of Newfoundland and Labrador, and what's actually accomplished, it's I myself, and I'm sure there's thousands, hundreds of thousands more people in this province that find it disturbing. We pay these people, and I've said this before. we pay these people roughly $5 million a year for 40 MHAs. And we expect results. But this bickering back and forth, nothing's accomplished, nothing changes. And maybe some of the other callers can call in, but myself personally, I find it offensive when there's so many people in this province struggling with housing, grocery costs, fuel costs, electric bills, and everything else. And we dive into these projects that are failed projects, and I mentioned that the last time I was online, $34 million in land leases that we'll probably never, ever get. But I'll leave it at that. But and if you want to pipe in, go ahead.
Well, I mean, it's part of my job to monitor what goes on there, and I've heard it described as political theater a lot of the times, and who doesn't like a little bit of political theater, or who doesn't like to watch a little bit of that back and forth and a few good gotchas, every now and again. But it seems to me that it's become more of a game and less about, serving the people, and some legitimate questions are asked and some legitimate issues are raised, and it seems to me that sometimes it's very, very frustrating.
It's very frustrating, and my age group is 63, and I have a lot of respect for young people going forward and stuff and that there, but I don't see no changes. But the main reason I called in was like Tony Wakeham and appointing this doctor, very small hours, $278,000. Now, let's take that and put it in perspective. We know we got troubles with the healthcare system. We know we have people that can't get family doctors. We know there's long lists for surgery, MRIs, CAT scans, so on, so on, so on. But didn't we just have a doctor as a premier? And what changed in the healthcare system? Nothing changed. Nothing changed. And so, like for Tony Wakeham to take taxpayers' money when we're already paying these people $5 million and he needs a healthcare advisor, my suggestion to Tony Wakeham is get rid of the healthcare advisor, go and meet with the people, boots on the ground, the nurses, the administration, the public that are waiting to get a family doctor. Like, this is not rocket science. We don't need a healthcare advisor, $278,000. The issues are there, plain as the nose on your face, and address it.
Well, no truer words could ever be spoken. They're working for us, all of them.
Exactly. Somehow, Linda, that seems to be forgotten. They are working for us. They are on our dime, on our hourly wage, and our benefits package, and our pension plans, and everything else. But I love this province, Newfoundland and Labrador. But boy, it's going down the toilet. I want to throw this out there too, just before I go. I want to give the Auditor General credit because she's a fine lady, a great lady. And she is exposing what's going on in this province. So maybe Tony Wakeham, John Hogan would take her advice and do it, because she seems to be the only one that got her stuff together. And she had to tell the housing minister that there's a housing crisis. Like, we paid housing ministers for years, and we need the Auditor General to tell the housing minister that there's a housing crisis. So what were we paying the housing minister for? I find that ludicrous. Yeah.
Mike, I appreciate your candor this morning. Thank you very much for your call.
Very good, and always nice chatting with you. And I hope VOCM keeps you in the chair. I said it before, and I'll say it again.
God love you. Thanks, Mike.
Okay. God bless.
All right. Bye-bye. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, what do you think about what Mike had to say? He shoots from the hip. Give us a call. Now is your opportunity to do so. And Alicia Hodder is a plant owner in Stoneville, and she joins us now. Hello, Alicia.
Hi. Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm not too bad, Linda. I'm not too bad. I'm calling, I guess, again this morning on behalf of my plant in Stoneville and behalf of my employees. I know one of them called you yesterday out of frustration. I just wanted to. I know that on the call you had said It should have been the owners perhaps should be looking into this. And I just wanted to let everyone know that we certainly are. It's just that, when there's a small group of us and we're all being so negatively affected by everything, it kind of strikes at everyone's heartstrings, I suppose. So we're all basically in trouble out here, and no one's listening to us at all. The original point of my call, I think when I got on the phone this morning, I wanted to call because I wanted the Minister of Fisheries to hear me, and I wanted him to reach out and finally answer some emails and answer my questions that have got us all left in turmoil. But as I've been sitting here on hold, I realized that we've already done that. That doesn't work anymore. I want Newfoundlanders and Labradorians to understand where I am. I want everyone to hear it, because I don't think for a minute that people understand just how terrible of a situation we are in, and it's every bit because of this government.
All right, so tell us what's happening.
And that hurts me. What's happening is I have a fish plant that myself and my husband started, I want to say 12 years ago. It's been, we've grown the fish plant. We're very family run. We don't support, we don't go to government for every little thing. We're not considered one of the big fives. We're none of that kind of stuff. We're just family run here in Stoneville. We have a lot of employees from different neighboring towns, and I'm proud that I've been able to help people around my friends, and I've been able to help people, I guess, live and not have to leave and go to Gander and different places for work. So anyway, we have that business, and it's been a struggle. It started off with a struggle with our DFO, because we do mainly sea urchin. It's been zoning issues, which I can't even get into, but it's been very selfish and irresponsible and very unprofessional decisions that have been made, or lack of decisions, I suppose, that have been made. So that has made my business struggle, and I've given ample opportunity, and I've said it 10,000 times. I've told them all. But either way, it was always swept under the rug, because that's just how it works when you're of my size. So either way, we've decided, maybe this was the total kick that we needed. Get us out of the sea urchins, because no one's going to listen to us anyway. We're too small to fight. So we said, we'll do something else, because I still have my employees. I still have a building. I still have a business. So I'll do something else. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start cod processing. That seems to be a thing, that's coming back up. I'm not set up right, at that time I was not set up for cod processing, but that's okay. You know what? These are growing pains, and we'll get through them. I have equipment that I'm sourcing out. I got to get Newfoundland power upgrades. I got to get all kinds of things in order to make this work, because my employees need it. They didn't get it with sea urchin this year like they always would have. They need it, so we're going to do it. We can't just going to have a building just sitting idle. I'm sitting on my couch sometime in February, just out of the blue. All of a sudden, I get an email from the Fisheries Department of Fisheries and Aquaculture provincial side, and they wrote an email telling me that my buyer's license. Now, I don't know. I don't want to make it too complicated for people, but a buyer's license is something that the FFAW and among with fishermen and the governments, I suppose, came up with a couple of years ago to allow the fishermen to have free enterprise. They could sell wherever they want to. So, I get it for the fisherman side of it. I guess if that's what they want to do, that's okay. I understand it. But they also gave one to processors, which I thought at the time was, it was good for me, I suppose. I could buy fish that I didn't have a processing license for. I could buy the fish, and I could sell it off the island. I wasn't allowed to process it. I wasn't allowed to bring it inside my plant. I couldn't give people work from it. But, I could ship it off the island. Whatever. I just kind of went with it. And so anyway, they took that one back. So that was just in a flick of a pen, stroke of a pen, it was over. It was gone. Now, I don't have a plant so that I can just ship away and not provide work for my employees. That's not why I have a plant. But I was going to use this license this year to try and help some of the or alleviate some of the cost for my cod production that I was starting up this year, something to help me get through, because that's all that I had. Do you know what I mean? So something to keep us moving, to buy my equipment, to keep things going, and ensure the work for my employees. So they took that one away from me. Okay, you know what? That's okay, no problem. So I would imagine that if it's taken away from me and they're allowing everyone to ship it off of the island, surely a plant that wants the work, surely I should be able to get a processing license. I don't want to send it away. I don't want to take it off the island. I want my employees to work. But I can't get it. I can't get it. I'm apparently the word is on the street that I should be able to get it sometime, maybe, but that doesn't work for me. I'm an employer. I have people who are depending on me, and on top of all of this, the federal side of things have now upped the hours for EI eligibility. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's right, eligibility. So now the terrible year that we just went through is now amplified 10,000 times, and I can't get anyone to give me a call or answer a darn question.
So have you had this conversation, or have you reached out to Minister Loyola O'Driscoll yet?
Oh, my God, yes. Yes, I've had it. I even tracked them down in Boston. Almost ran them over in Boston trying to talk to it. But all I got out of everything is that we are working on it. We will let you know. That doesn't work for me. I am sorry. And I'm sorry if this sounds unprofessional, because I feel unprofessional. This is not my character to do these types of things. But I feel like when they took that buyer's license, when they took the license without consulting the industry at all, I feel that was very unprofessional. You just can't do that to people. I need to say this very clear. I got to insert this in here because I don't want feedback from any kind. I never wanted to use a buyer's license so that I couldn't provide work for my employees. I was going to use this so that I could help alleviate some of the costs to get my plant going, so that I can make this work for everybody. I didn't want the buyers. I want the process. I have a building, a brand new CFIA approved building. You know what I mean? I can do anything in my building if I had the capability. If someone was to allow me, if I had the permission, not capability, but the permission. But do you know how difficult it is to get I just want to work, and they're letting fishermen or people or businesses or just normal regular people, they can take it and just ship it out the island if they think they can get a fair price for it somewhere else, put it on a truck and let it go. I'm asking can I take it, put it in my plant, let me, I'm probably not going to get a big amount. I don't know what I'm going to get, but either way, I'll get enough for what I want. So why can't I work? I just want to work. Grocery costs are crazy. Heat, people. I mean, I don't even know. I don't understand it. Gas is crazy. Like Newfoundland. I really like your last caller, Mike. You know what I mean? Like I was listening to him talk, and it makes sense because I'm also a proud Newfoundlander. And what are we being ran? Like who is making all these decisions? Shouldn't we want to live here? Shouldn't we want to prosper here?
Yeah, so I hear your frustration. You're just trying to make a living. You're just trying to keep things going.
But
you're trying to do it with whatever resources are available to you, and you keep getting blocked.
But I'm not asking for anything that's going to hurt anybody else. I'm not asking for anything at all. Nothing I'm doing is difficult. I'm not asking for $1 million projects and sticking up windmills and all the rest of the farm. I'm not asking for anything. I'm saying, would you please write on a piece of paper that I'm allowed to process whatever species I want to inside my plant to make my business run, to create work for my employees. That's all I'm asking. They're letting the fishermen do it, or other individuals. I actually got a letter. It came out, this is your buyer's license renewal. You can renew this one, or you can renew your processing license. You cannot have both. So what if I was the type of person to say, you know what? I don't care. I don't care about the plant. We're going to turn that into some sort of a dance hall here in Stoneville, and I'm going to become a buyer. I'm going to go around with my trucks. I'm going to collect from everybody. I'm going to send it away, and all of my employees just go home with nothing. Like that's literally the position that I'm in right now. I'm not going to do that. I would never do that because I care too much about my workers, and I care too much about what we've accomplished, and I care too much about my town and my children. I'm not going to do that. But what if I did? That's the position. That's what they're telling me to do. All I want is to process. That's all I want to do. I want them to stop closing doors in front of me. Or if you're going to slam doors all over me, tell me why.
So,
why are you slamming doors all over me?
You want to process, so what is it exactly that you're looking for?
I just want to process. I want somebody to call me and say, okay, Alicia, listen, we got your buyer's license taken away for X amount of reasons. We felt it necessary to take away buyer's license from all processors. However, because we're allowing all of the fishermen I say fishermen, it's not just secluded to fishermen, but it's other people as well, as long as you're not a processor. So they can apply for a license. They can get whatever they want and ship it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a piece of paper that says that you can process whatever species you want to inside of your plant. If we're allowing it to go off the island unprocessed, then we'll have a view. If you want to create work for people in your town, here you go. We're not going to stop you. You go right ahead. That's what I want. And I don't think that's too difficult.
Okay.
In actual fact, I think they should be shaking my hand saying, you know what, that's a great idea. We're going to let everybody do it.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to be ready to process, and you have to have a license to process a specific species, and you don't have that in hand yet.
No, I am a processor. I have a cod license. I can process cod.
Okay.
I can process multiple species, like within like the cod, like they're all put in like different categories.
Right.
I can do that.
You can.
But I can. I don't have like a crab license. I mean that was impossible. You're not going to get that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And
okay, so you have a cod license. So what? Why aren't you processing cod?
I am processing cod. I'm processing cod this year.
Okay.
But this is my first year processing cod. Like this is my first year. So this year I am getting my equipment. I have things on order that and the sea urchin, the lack of sea urchin is what kind of gave me the kick that I needed to get things ready. So this is what I'm doing. I'm getting ready. I will be ready to process cod this year. My plan was I'm going to use this buyer's license because this equipment is super, super expensive. I'm talking millions of dollars.
You want the buyer's license back?
No, I don't. No, I do not want the buyer's license back. I was going to use the buyer's license to help alleviate some of the cost. But if the buyer's license was taken and somebody could tell me that I am able to get a crab license, or I am able to get, because I know I have contacts who would like not even so much snow crab, all the little crabs and the whelk and all the rest of the things. Like, I know that if I had a license or someone told me that I was able to get it, then I myself would put the investments into my plant and make me ready. I won't be ready this year, but I can be ready next year.
Okay, I gotcha. Well, we'll see what the fisheries minister has to say about that. I'll put out an open invitation to Loyola Driscoll to give us a call. I appreciate your time, Alicia. Let us know how you make out.
I certainly will, and I'd like for him to call or email me too. You know what I mean? I need business. My business, my employees are finished as of tomorrow.
Okay.
They don't have enough hours, and this is every bit, 100%, every bit, because of the DFO and the DFA, every bit.
All right, I appreciate your time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to hopefully speak with you. We have a couple of lines open. Now is your opportunity to give us a call. And we are going now to David. You're on the air. Hi, David.
Good morning, Linda. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. I just want to touch base on a few things. Like, I had cancer removed there over a year ago now, right? In my parotid gland at St. Clair's.
Okay.
Not going to say no names or nothing like that. But anyway, a year before that, I was complaining. I went to my doctor, told him I had cancer, and he called me paranoid, okay? There's nothing wrong with you, so all I wanted was a scan, okay? But I didn't get that scan. I didn't get nothing until a year later when I went to the Buren Hospital. I got to talk because where I had the surgery to fool up my face, right?
Gotcha.
So bear with me. But anyway, I went to Buren one Saturday evening because my face was really swollen and burning, hey? So when I went to the hospital, I saw a doctor there, and he looked at me and felt my face and that, and he said, he shook his head. I said, do you think I have cancer? And he said, I'm not really sure. I don't know. So he ordered up a scan for me, and right away it came back cancer. And this is a year later before I went to my doctor and complained, okay? So, you know what cancer does in a year?
It can do a lot.
It's done a lot. Okay, it turned a half an hour surgery into a 7.5 hour surgery. It ruined my life. My doctor looked at me after the surgery and said, David, don't worry. You're still the same person. No, I'm not. I'm nowhere close to the same person I was. After 30-odd treatments of radiation and the 7.5 hour surgery, and I'm nowhere close to it. So anybody who everybody knows their body. I'm sure you know your body, right?
Yeah.
You know when there's something not right.
Everyone knows when there's something not right, yeah.
That's right. So when you go to the doctor and you tell him there's something not right, and he looks at you and it's just your sinuses. No, it's not my sinuses. It was something a lot worse than that. And when he put his finger around my ear, he could kill a tumor, right? So what he had to do then was cut my throat and peel my face back and take out the tumor, okay? And he had to cut. Because of this, my facial nerve was disrupted and probably cut. So now my face is dropped, okay? So what I'm trying to get at is if they had listened to me a year earlier, this wouldn't have cost the government very much money to fix me. But now it's a lifetime of misery and a lot of dollars coming out of the government to keep me alive. For what reason, I don't know. Because they're not giving the scans that you need to diagnose what's wrong with you, okay? This $280,000 that Tony VOCM has given that guy, I don't know what kind of help he's giving the government. I don't know. But that could pay for a lot of scans. The reason you can't get a scan because it costs about $500, okay? But the pill is a lot easier to get somebody, especially if you're paying for yourself. So that's the problem.
So that first doctor's visit, did you get any tests done, like blood tests?
None. He told me to hold my nose when I get out of bed in the morning and blow. He said, just your thymus is clogged up. But I could feel the cancer burning inside under my ear, up to and under my ear. You can look it up with the parotid gland still. And I knew there was something wrong because I couldn't touch the bottom of my ear.
And you you mentioned all that. You advocated for yourself at the time?
Yes, but I was more or less told I was paranoid. There was nothing wrong with me. Okay? But anyway, I got the surgery, I got the radiation, and there's something else I'm going to talk about. Cancer is a business, it's not a sickness. When I walked into that radiation department and see like a line of cattle going in and out, in and out, in and out, and radiation is not a cure. Anybody thinks radiation it can help and it can prolong your life, but I don't. By no means do I think it's a cure because it kills your body too. It creates other problems. It's great to have it, but it creates a lot of other problems. So isn't it better to have a scan in the first place?
Right. So you're saying that for the cost of a scan, you and the system would have avoided all of that.
Well, I spent 40-something days in the Daffodil House getting shuttled back and forth for radiation. I had to go for a surgery in St. Clair's. They never done that for $10. I wouldn't say. The government was billed for that. Where all this could have been avoided just by a simple little scan on the first of it. So why is it so hard to get a scan? Why do you have to wait years, months to get a scan? I don't understand that. We had a doctor at that time for Premier. He should know it better than that, but apparently not. All they were doing was stuffing their own pockets with money. And on the way at the door, they tried to steal another bag full. Never got away with it. But it don't make sense.
So, David, how you doing now?
I'll never be the same. But my doctor looks at me and tells me I'm the same person. No, I'm not. I'm not the same person. I'm useless. Useless. I haven't got the energy for nothing. Useless. And then, and that's the way it is. So rather than get in this mess that I'm in, make sure you be persistent. Make sure you get the test you need. There was another guy came to my house the other day. He was here to my house over a year ago, and he told me what was going on with him. I said, Mister, I think you got cancer. By the signs of what you're telling me. And he said, no, he said, it's not that. He said, just heartburn, I suppose. Anyway, he came here a couple of days ago. He said, Dave, I got cancer in the stomach, esophagus. I said, didn't I tell you that a year ago? He never went and got the scan. There's 4,000 people going to be diagnosed with cancer in Newfoundland this year. 1,800 of them are going to die. That's not very good statistics.
No, it's not.
Right? So I'm not being harsh or hard on anybody. I'm just down the facts. That's all, right? Just make sure you get the right treatment. Don't take a pill and go home and say, oh, God, I feel good. Make sure you know what's going on with your body.
Yeah, and be your own best advocate. If you're not satisfied with what you hear, go back again.
The worst thing I ever done was when I came into that doctor's office. I should have got in my car, and I should have went to emergency in the health science, and I should have stayed there till I got my scan.
Yeah.
Because you can't get nothing out here because there's nothing out there. Absolutely nothing.
David, I know it was a tough call to make, but I appreciate you telling us that story, and it may serve as an example or a warning to others that you really do need to advocate for yourself. Doctors don't catch everything; they're human, just like the rest of us. If you know there's something wrong, you have to keep at it and be persistent. David, thank you.
They're highly paid professionals that spend a lot of time guessing.
Yeah.
Right?
David, thanks for your call.
I just wanted to say every morning now I got to get out of bed and I got to tape up my face in order to talk and eat, right? So anybody tells me that didn't change my life, don't know what they're talking about. But anyway, thank you so much.
All right, David, you take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Your thoughts on what he's had to say, give us a call. We have some lines open. Now is the chance to do so. And we're going now to Bill. You're on the air. Hi, Bill.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yep. Last week, the topic was, I think someone called in and said that he went to the bank and they wouldn't take cash. I think that was Colin. I think, yeah, he calls about laws and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So and before that, your host was talking about how people now a lot of people are encouraged to go online to pay their bills and things like that. And so to go online to pay your bills, well, okay, you got to buy a computer. Or I guess you could probably do it with your phone. And then you have to have a secure internet connection. So that's another expense. And I find it really hard. Like, I think that's almost insulting for anybody that really doesn't want to do that. And also it's an expense that people have to go through. And now I think it affects more of our senior population than the younger people who have probably grown up with experience in online activity, and online banking and things like that.
But you can also set up payment schedules through the bank so that the payments are automatically taken out of your account.
Yeah, I think they could. That was always allowed. I think that was done years ago. So, and then there comes a question of the number of branches that have been closed. So so to a person to go to an actual bank and visit a clerk and set those things up, it's really even hard now to try and call someone at the bank. So I mean, you eliminate the branches, and you can't get that service like with a lot of people. It was probably part of their routine to go to the bank and do their banking with the clerk, and that face-to-face and interaction, and so now older people, and I heard it said older people or people who don't like that are encouraged to get maybe their young children or their grandchildren or to help them with those sort of things like online. And what you do there is you removed a level of independence that a person has had like for their adult life, so you're kind of infantilizing the senior citizen. So I think it's I don't think that's right.
It's an interesting point you're making, Bill. Absolutely. It seems to me that every time I've ever gone into a bank, it's never, empty and the clerks are sitting there waiting for someone to show up. There's always lineups.
Lineups because there might be where there was 4 or 5 clerks at one time. Now there's maybe, if you're lucky, there's 1 there or maybe 2. So they've done. The banks have done that, and everyone's saying, well, we got to go paperless and all. Well, who does that benefit? Who that paperless thing? Who does that benefit? That benefits the person who has an operation to print up bills, let's say, and send them out, and postage stamps and stuff like. And then so who does it really benefit?
Also, harder to manage. It's harder for a person to manage stuff that's just coming and going and effortlessly, unless you're really paying close attention. It's harder to manage.
Yeah, well, we've gone from like a system where people would receive their bill, an itemized bill, and they would look at it, and then they would probably break out their checkbook and write a check and send it in the mail. Okay. And so now everyone is being encouraged to go, they call it paperless, and the downgrade of service in the post office now, where they're not, there was a union man on from the post office last week saying that they're not sorting it as often as they should, and they're downgrading that service, so that's just on the bill paying business, right? Okay, what about the telephone business? Like for years and years, people had a landline, and like $30 a month or $20 a month, and then they had the landline, and every year they were given the phone book, and then I noticed over years that the phone book, even the print in the phone book became smaller and smaller and smaller. How insulting that was to our senior citizens. Whose their sight was, like changing as they got older, and then the phone company was sending out phone books with really tiny print in it, and now it's really and then Colin said he went to the bank and they wouldn't even take the cash. He said, well, we'll take your credit card or we'll take your debit card, but they wouldn't take cash. That's who does this stuff really? To benefit benefits the telecom companies that you have to go and spend $130 a month to get all the services. It's the internet service, and you got to go and buy a computer to, and to be able to do that thing. And then how secure is it? So,
well, indeed. I mean, if you're dealing with cash, you might have to worry about whether someone swiped your wallet or your purse. In this cyber world that we're in, somebody could be in there fiddling around all the time, and you don't know it.
That's right. So really, what is that real progress? I mean, it's sure fine if you want to do that. If you want to go online and all that stuff, you're great, go for it. But what's going to happen when we get in our 70s or 80s and stuff like that, and we're being told that we got to use our, I don't know, if we're lucky, our grandchildren or our children to do our business for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? How are we going to feel?
Yep. I hear you. Bill, interesting points. Thanks for your call.
Okay.
Okay.
Have a good day.
All right, you
Bye.
too. Bye. We're going to go now to Barbara. You're on the air. Hi, Barbara.
Yes, Linda. I was wondering if you or anybody knew if the R rebate was coming out this year or not.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. We've had a couple of calls on that, and I don't have any definitive answers.
Because Mr. Dan Hogan, when he was in for that month, he said he would put it out, right? But Mr. Wakeham didn't mention nothing about it when he got in, right?
Yeah, it could be that it will be included or maybe not included, who knows, in the upcoming budget. But we haven't heard anything definitive. If there's anybody in government that wants to give us a call to let us know whether or not it is going to be continued this year, let us know.
Okay, dear. Thank you very much. You're doing a good job.
Thank you, Barbara. All the best.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. We're going to go now to Rhonda. You're on the air. Hi, Rhonda.
Hi, Linda. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
We're almost up to news time. Sorry, Barbara. Rhonda, so if you don't get your points out, would you be willing to wait through the news?
Most definitely.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, you had a caller there on, it was a male, and he was saying that about cancer, and of course he had to wait and wait. Well, is this cancer, whatever? I had the same experience. I moved back home from Halifax. I had cancer over in Halifax, so I said, no, I'm going home to be with my older children, right? So that's what I did. And anyway, I had all my medical reports and everything from Halifax and to bring over to my doctor here. So I did that. I had to, the top oncologist over in Halifax told me, Rhonda, when you get back over from Nova Scotia to Newfoundland, make sure you get a CAT scan ASAP. I filed with my family doctor for 5 months, Linda, 5 months to get me a CAT scan. Never did get it. So then I finally got fed up, and I went to another doctor in that office. When I got there, he said, Rhonda, I'll get you a CAT scan. This was on a Tuesday, Linda. That following Friday, I had my CAT scan at 6:30 over at St. Clair's. Lo and behold, the next morning I wake up by the phone ringing. This was my family doctor. I need to see you in my office first thing Monday morning. Have a good weekend.
Wow. What?
I said, well, this can't be good because I just went through the same thing over in Halifax. Except he called me at 8:30 at night. And so anyway, I went, myself and my daughter, we went over to my family doctor. And she said, well, I don't know how to tell you this, but you've got cancer of the kidney. Now, could I have saved a piece of my kidney? We'll never know, Linda. We will never know. As it stands, I lost my left kidney. Now, if I would have had this CAT scan when I was supposed to get it, but no, I couldn't. So this is what happened to me. So I feel for the guy that just had his face done. I am dealing now with the same problem. But it comes out like a golf ball on the side of my face. And they're saying that I might need a stent in it. And in the back of my mind, I'm always saying, well, is this cancer? We'll never know until they go in. So I can really, I sympathize with this guy because I have been going through hell and back. And again, if you're not an advocate for yourself, you have nobody to fight for you.
Rhonda, I thank you for sharing your story with us, and I'm sure that you're not alone in this, sadly. I'd like to hear what others have to say as well. We're up to news time, though, so we'll leave it there, but thank you for your call.
And thank you.
All right, you take care.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Your thoughts on that, give us a call. We're up to news time now with Sarah Strickland, but in the meantime, we have some lines open. We're going into the last hour of the show. Anything you've heard or anything you want to chime in on or anything that's on your mind, give us a call.
You're listening to a rebroadcast of VOCM Open Line. Have your say by calling 709-273-5211 or 1-888-590-8626 and listen live weekday mornings at 9 a.m.
And we're back on VOCM Open Line. We're going to go now to Sheila. You're on the air. Hi, Sheila.
Hi. Hey, I would like to talk about the proposed development down in the Battery. Some company, I think from Ontario, I'm not positive about this, has proposed to City Council. They built 35 condos and then a bunch of high-end single-family homes in this little tiny spot in the Battery. I'm sure everybody's familiar with it. It's sort of at the corner of Battery Road and Signal Hill Road, or anyway, Cabot Road maybe. Anyway, it's this beautiful historic home that's there, and you know, the one with all the beautiful bluebells in the spring, and it's a gorgeous little spot. And they're going to try and cram 35 Ontario-style condos in there. I'm sure other people have heard about it. But anyways, I just wanted to call and see if there's anyone knows any update on that. Is City Council moving on that or moving against that? And someone told me yesterday that they had heard that City Council has their hands tied because the zoning allows for it. Now, I call a foul there. Our City Council, we trust to take care of things in this city, and that includes preserving our most historic, most photographed neighborhood. And I think it's in the interest of the city, of all the people in the city, to increase our, tourist dollars and that sort of thing. Nobody's going to want to come and visit Newfoundland to look at modern flat-roofed Ontario-style condos in the Battery. The location that they're proposing, yes, it's got a gorgeous view, but that means every boat that comes into our harbor will be able to see that development, which I'm sure would be lovely in another place, but we are a historic city. It's horrendous. I think our provincial government, our federal MPs should be in on stopping this, and I don't understand why we don't have a heritage mandate to protect some older neighborhoods in St. John. There is already one building, a multi-unit building on between Middle Battery Road and Top Battery Road, and it's black, and it's about 4 or 5 stories high, and it's kind of a scar down there. Every other house down there, even though I know some of them are Airbnbs now, but every other house down there is, got the unique look of the Newfoundland houses, and lots of people that buy places down there fix them up and keep them that traditional Newfoundland look with unique paint colors and stuff, except for that one house, like I say, between Middle Battery Road and Top Battery Road, that black thing, and they want to put another development up above Battery Road. It's absolutely horrendous. I think we need a heritage designation for that area. Not only heritage, it's a nightmare in the wintertime trying to get around there. It's a nightmare for the snow clearing people, and it's an absolute nightmare for parking. I live in the Battery. It will be a nightmare, and I do not think, I don't think we need to be sending money to Ontario and selling, once again, Newfoundlanders selling our resources to the mainland. There's going to be very little money that the City Council will get out of that development. Anyways, I just wanted to bring that up again.
Sheila, I was going to ask you about that, the whole aspect of traffic, because I know even in the summer months when just because of tourism and people wanting to, get up on Signal Hill and have a look around and that sort of thing, the traffic on Signal Hill Road can be extremely busy at the best of times. And then you have all these little off-roads going down towards the Battery and the Outer Battery and all that. They're very narrow for obvious reasons. So would a development of that size with that number of people and that concentration of people make sense in that area, even on a traffic level?
It makes absolutely no sense. If those developers want to buy, there's all kinds of land in and around St. John's that has beautiful views, like, oh my gosh, just off the top of my head, that spot beside the Kirk there by the Tim Hortons, Where the CLB Armory is, there's a big empty lot there. They could cram in as many condos as they want, and they'd have a beautiful view of the harbor from there, and it wouldn't take away from our historic Battery area. And yes, the traffic, nightmarish. It's already nightmarish trying to live down there, get around down there, park down there. And they want to cram in 35 condos. Like it's ludicrous. And is the city council really have their hands tied? What's the point of a city council? I mean, they're not just administrators. They have to make decisions that benefit St. John's, and this decision does not benefit St. John's, and they need to put a stop to it. It's unbelievable that they want to cram something in there.
What's your ward councillor saying? Have you had contact with them?
I have sent emails, haven't had direct contact, no.
Because that's really, I guess, how this has to work, I would imagine, that people in the area or anyone else who has a concern about it needs to contact their ward councillor directly and let them know what they think.
Yeah, well, maybe I need to phone, not just send an email. I mean, you just presume that the people that we elect will have a similar worldview about issues for our city that most of the people in this city. I can't imagine most people in this city would want, a development down in that spot down there. Like I say, it's the most photographed area in all of Newfoundland, really. And, and they're going to stick a bunch of condos there for what? For why? To benefit 35 rich people from the mainland? No, it's just foolishness. Lots of other places, lots of empty lots around St. John's that wouldn't be a scar on our historic Battery,
Sheila, you've spoken very passionately about the issue. I want to hear what
I'm passionate about it. Yes.
I want to hear what others have to say. I mean, I've seen the petitions online. I've seen all of that, but I'm not hearing from people about it. I want to hear from people.
Not hearing enough. I know. And I mean, we're quite polite. Newfoundlanders are, and we always assume our politicians have our best interests at heart, but. In this case, I don't think they do. Either that or like often happens, they're being bowled over by some flashy dressed up person from the mainland who says this is a new future, and that sometimes happens to Newfoundlanders too. We go, oh my God, maybe this is the future, But anyway, I got to go because I'm at work. But thank you very much for your time.
All right. Thanks, Sheila. All right.
Thanks a lot. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Sheila there speaking very passionately about her opposition to that proposed development on Signal Hill. It's a property that was up for sale. Somebody bought it, and now they're proposing to put 35 condos there. And there's a few people not too happy about it. But she's the first that I've heard from on that issue. So if that's one that a topic that gets you going, give us a call. Here are the numbers to do so. And we're back on VOCM Open Line, and we have lines open into the last half hour or so of the show. We're going to go now to the caller on line 2. Hello. Hello.
Linda?
Yes.
Sid Wilansky speaking.
Oh, hey, Sid.
I just want to make an announcement. We're a bit of a historical day. The third reading for the disability advocates happening in the House today. And people can come and watch this historical event. The House is definitely open. And for those that don't know, we've been at this now for many, many years trying to get the disability advocate going, and we're finally there.
And you couldn't be happier, I'm sure.
Oh, yes. Listen, it's historical.
So what kind of a role do you see the disability advocate playing? Because obviously they're going to have to find a person, and it has to be the appropriate person and the like. So what kind of role do you hope to see, and what kind of engagement do you hope to have with that person?
Well, first, the person that's going to be picked has to have a life experience or a professional in the field that has family with experience, someone that has, shall we say, boots on the ground before they get there and understand what's going on in the province. And there's a lot of really good names around the province that you can look at. Well, I won't go into them right now, but we do have the talent here in the province, and I'm sure the government's going to make the appropriate pick.
The disability advocate is a systemic advocate, so anything that affects the community as a whole, they'll be getting themselves into, and we're hoping that the final piece will say that they have the right to do an investigation. And, we always talk about that one person that's out there that, needs help. The advocate will probably be able to help and give direction through his office, but if that person has something that's a systemic issue that will make the difference for other people in the province, they will certainly engage themselves in it. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. So you want to see an investigative role complete in this?
Well, as of the first readings and what's out there now, that's already written in there. Mm-hmm. But what level it goes to, we don't know yet until the actual advocate's picked. And it's going to take time. I mean, there's no question about it. But at least the first step has been taken, and that is legislation. And we couldn't be happier.
So what kind of change would you anticipate once this person gets in? What do you hope could be addressed?
Oh, my goodness, where do we start? I'm sorry. Where do we start? Honestly, it is a subject that is so immense at this point, it's almost impossible to predict what will happen first. I mean, the first thing we got to do is get the person in there, the right person. And once that's done, after that, it's just going to be a multi-year look at what's happening in the province and trying to get rid of some of the systemic issues that we face on a daily basis.
Absolutely. I'm thinking right off the top of my head, I'm thinking access, employment. Oh my goodness, you're right. It's so wide ranging. Housing.
Well, the biggest issue that we face these days is what's called attitudinal barriers. And that is changing, that's the way people look at and have looked at things over the years. And not always can we look backward and say, look, that was a good thing, because we all know that history tells us that we need to make changes. Housing is one thing, and inside the housing is the universal design of our environment. Yes, when you're dealing with employment, that employers know that persons with disabilities need accommodation, but that accommodation doesn't mean they can't do less. A lot of times there's a brilliant mind behind someone with a disability, and you have to give them that ability to bring it out. Our institutions, government, the courts. I mean, how many of the courts are accessible in the province today? You'd be surprised. There's not many. Transportation has issues. Like you said, we can go down the list and we won't stop. But, taking the first step here, that's the most important part.
Well, Sid, I thank you for letting us know about that. The third reading goes through this today of the disability advocate legislation, and hopefully we'll see that person appointed or hired in the next little while, and they've got a very busy agenda ahead of them.
If anybody's interested, sorry for the noise, it starts at 1:30 with question period. And they'll probably be reading around 2:30 the what they call the first bill of their next 4 years, for want of a better statement.
Sure.
So the legislation's open. You'll need a piece of ID, and you'll have to go through the front door to get a badge. But it's pretty simple, and it is all accessible.
And I assume you're planning to be in the gallery?
Oh, absolutely.
Taking it all in, like you say, it's a historic moment. Sid Wilansky, I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Linda. Bye.
So obviously for many people in this province, it's a moment that many feared they would never see. But the third reading happening this afternoon, and Sid is obviously welcoming people to come on down to the Confederation Building Gallery this afternoon and take it in, because it's a moment that a lot of people have been waiting for a very long time. We have lines open. Now is your opportunity to give us a call. We're going to take a break while Dave lines up a few calls. Yesterday, what happened was we had a bit of a lull into the last hour of the show, and then all of a sudden, what happens? 10 minutes to 12? Boom, 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 boom. Phones go crazy. So you're not getting on that way, is all I can tell you. So give us a call now.
The Tim Powers Show. Join the conversation weekday afternoons at 4 p.m. on your VOCM.
Well, some very good news for the beleaguered Conception Bay North Shore. As we know, the devastation that was wrought out there by those wildfires last summer really left a lot of people reeling. Homes, properties destroyed, and Cabot Academy in Western Bay, the only school, by the way, between Pursalvik in Victoria and the school in Bay de Verde, was destroyed, completely flattened. Nothing left. It was quite an extraordinary sight to behold, and a real gut-wrenching moment for the people on the Conception Bay North Shore. And the government now is announcing that it will rebuild a school there. There will be a school in there will be a school built to replace Cabot Academy in Western Bay. A work is currently ongoing to determine the size, the specifications, and the construction timelines for the new school. It will be determined by factors such as enrollment projections, programming requirements, and possible site remediation. An environmental site assessment will be completed as soon as the snow clears, and construction work on the new school anticipated to start in 2027. And when that construction work will be completed will depend, of course, on the size and specifications of the new school. But that may be a factor now in families who have children attending other schools about whether or not they plan to rebuild in their old areas and on their old properties. Some people may not want to go back. That's a given. For some people, it's just not going to be the same for them. Others are very much determined to rebuild in the place that they love and have roots in. So, very good news indeed. And if anybody on the Conception Bay North Shore wants to give us a call, they're certainly welcome to give us to do so. We're going to go now to Rex Burns. Hello, Rex.
How you doing, Linda? How's everything?
Great. How are you?
Oh, not too bad at all. Listen, I wanted to call in this morning. I wasn't going to bother to call in, but I haul over side the road. I said I'll call in. I was listening to some of the people talking about the healthcare system and, CAT scans and X-rays and everything else. And I'm getting to a point to believe that it's a time for doctors to stop fooling around with just general X-rays. And I think that the only way that a lot of disorders are going to be caught in time is if they have CAT scans or MRIs, because these are better machines, better diagnostics. And I think the X-rays are getting to a point, I believe, in Newfoundland especially, they're getting obsolete because they can pick up a major fracture, but they can't pick up a minor fracture. And because of that, I think that doctors are still depending on the general X-rays, and I don't think they should be looking at that. I think there needs to be more MRIs given to patients who are complaining of constant issues, or CAT scans and ultrasounds. This is the only way they're going to do it, because I tell you the reason why now is that a couple of years ago, my brother, of course, he's passed away now, and he unfortunately was not in the system to get better because he was late diagnosed of cancer. And it started when he decided to go to St. John's to get pre-op done for knee surgery. because they're that busy in Central, he couldn't get his pre-op done, so he went to St. John's. And the doctor, of course, most Newfoundlanders are overweight. So he said, you got to lose a bit of weight and so forth and so forth. So he put him on a pill to help him lose weight. And he was losing weight, and he thought he was doing good. But I used to say to him, listen, I don't think you're looking good. He said, no. He said, the doctor told me I'm in good health. He said he wants me to lose weight, and my blood work is good. Well, unfortunately, he got diagnosed in a cancer on a Sunday evening, and a Thursday he died because he never got treated, in my view, and wasn't given the proper diagnosis early enough to probably extend his life. Because that's all it's going to do anyway, extend his life, because he was gone too far. And the thing about it is that from that point on, I firmly believe that if he was given a CAT scan or an ultrasound or an MRI, they would have found this out. But they didn't find it out. It was too late. Within a week of being diagnosed, the cancer was spread so quickly that he died.
Goodness.
5 days.
And the circumstances whereby he was taking a pill to lose weight sort of masked the fact that he was losing weight, because losing weight is one of the signs for some people.
Yes, well, that's right. But he said he was feeling fine, but he was a bad diabetic. Now there was complications with him. He was a bad diabetic. His wife passed away, and of course, with everything, and he buried his wife in the mainland, and he went on that journey. When he come back, he was sick, and he seen several doctors, and until he finally found a doctor that really took care of him on the last leg of his journey, and decided to say, I think we should have an ultrasound, and an ultrasound led to a CAT scan, and the CAT scan gave him the true picture of what was happening. And I've said from that point on is that the doctors need to stop concentrating on x-rays, because we all got arthritis as Newfoundlanders, but arthritis leads to something else, and if they don't catch it early and get diagnosed and get on medication, your life is going to be over before you know it. And how many times have you heard patients say to you on open line, well, if we had to catch this a year ago, we would have been able to do something. Well, the only way to catch it is to have more MRIs and more CAT scans, and if need be, ultrasounds. General x-rays don't do it no more, in my view. And I think that this is where any government, regardless of political stripe, Liberal, PC, NDP, they need to be concentrating on this issue, because that's when you get better health care for the people. It might cost more, but listen, it's going to have to cost more because the times are here, and that's just the way it is. Everything costs more, and you just got to suck it up and let it go.
Yeah, and it's the technology that really makes the difference.
It's the technology. The technology is the key, and we got the technology, but they say, well, doctors will tell you, no, I'm not ordering an MRI, CAT scan, right? But they got to stop doing that, because they can't see what's like one of your callers said, I know my body. Well, that's right. You know your body. You know if it's changing. You know if it's causing trouble for you. So therefore, when you tell a doctor that, they sort of, well, most times you're talking over a phone, so you don't know the reaction, because I'm almost sure the doctor is rolling his eyes and saying, yes, right? Because we got too many Google doctors. That's the problem, right?
Well, that is the problem. That is the problem, and I think a lot of doctors, that's at the forefront of their thoughts. Well, it can't be that, because I'm the doctor. I know that yes. symptom doesn't match with what you're explaining here, and they know that people are just going to Google.
I know, and I hate when people go to Google and says, well, I got this, because you look up anything and it could give you the same symptoms for about 20 diagnoses. But the thing about it is that if you get early detection with regards to CAT scans and MRIs or ultrasounds, I think then people got a chance to live longer. But if you don't have a chance to live longer, at least everything was done with the technology we got to make better healthcare diagnosis. And I think that's the key.
Rex, I appreciate your call today. I'm so sorry to hear about your brother, but you're raising some very interesting points. Cost is a factor here, but if that's the cost, as you put it, of technology, then why don't we use it?
Well, it's there. It's in our hands, but it seems like I can go to the mainland tomorrow. If I went to the mainland tomorrow and something happened to me, I can tell you right now, the first thing most doctors are going to do is have an MRI done or a CAT scan, because I tell you the reason why. I had trouble with my knees, for example, okay? And my son had trouble with his knees, and it's not that there's runs in the family. He had an injury, and his old age getting on me, that's the problem. And he had an injury. The doctor didn't bother to go and just get an X-ray. He said, I'm sending you for an MRI to see what we're dealing with. And my doctor, I haven't got a doctor. I'm talking to online doctors. And all they said, well, we'll send you to an X-ray and get an X-ray done, see if anything shows up. And then he comes back to me, you got that rust in your legs or your knees or whatever, and that's all we can do for you. Whereas my son, he went and he had an MRI done, and they found out what was wrong with him, and they took care of him. So now he's in good shape now than he was before, and that's got to be done more, because we just can't depend on a normal X-ray, because normal X-rays are getting obsolete, like I said earlier.
Rex, thank you for your call. I really appreciate it.
No trouble.
Okay.
Take care of yourself.
You too.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye. And it struck me as Rex was talking, we talk a lot about, being your own advocate and that sort of thing, but it's also important, and many have argued this point, is to have a family doctor, someone who knows you and who has been following you over not just a week or two or a couple of months, but, your life, and knows what's right for you and what's wrong for you, and knows that when they see you and you're complaining about something, they'll say, no, that's new for you. What's going on with that? So there's that aspect of things as well when it comes to preventative care. We're going to go now to Wendy. You're on the air. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I just wanted to call in today. I've never, ever called in. About my son. He's now 20, and he was born with a disability. So he's had 20 years. It was a rare condition that we didn't find out until he was 12 years old, that it was a genetic anomaly that gives him a global developmental delay, besides something wrong with all of his major organs and very short stature. So he's under 5 feet tall now at 20 years old still.
Okay.
But I called because of the new disability person that's going to be advocate that's supposed to be put in place. I really hope they find someone that knows about the system and how to deal with it. I went through the system for 18 years, had wonderful pediatric care, absolutely great doctors. The Janeway was amazing for us. I spent 2 years in Toronto Hospital with no issues with transition back to Newfoundland. But when he turned 18, it totally changed.
How so? Because he aged out of the system?
Because that was the Janeway. It was all pediatric doctors. So then he had to be transferred into adult doctors and into the adult system. So now, first of all, my rights, even though myself and my husband were divorced and I had custody of my son for taking care of him, all of that became null and void. So now, because he's 18, he's nonverbal, by the way, so global developmental delay. He can't take care of himself in any way. He can't wash himself. He can't take himself to the bathroom. He don't talk. He don't feed himself. He does nothing for himself. He has no understanding on how to take care of himself. So for now, I can't speak to anything in the government. I have to file for guardianship through a lawyer that has cost me $5,000 so far that I still don't have guardianship. and I can't speak to anyone in the government, and under any taxes or anything for them to file things. They won't speak to me on anything.
That's extraordinary. And yet he's still your son.
He's still my son, and his disability that he was born with didn't change. So then when he turned 18, they canceled his disability tax credit, and I had to refile again just because he turned 18. I refiled again, tons of paperwork, because the disability tax credit, he pretty much had to fill out every single page because of all of his conditions. I got it back, and they told me it's only good till 2027. So I'm supposed to refile it again.
Do it all over again, just to keep him at the benefit level where he is now.
But his condition don't change. It's an hereditary condition that you can't just start speaking again, or you just all of a sudden start taking care of yourself. It's not a condition. And at the end of every page, when you fill out the disability tax credit, it asks you at the end of each page, will this condition get better within the next 3 to 5 years? No, it will never get better. If they looked at any of the reports that I sent in from the geneticist or his pediatrician that he had before he finished, they say that he operates under a 5-year-old, and they're telling me that I got to refile this in next year again.
Oh my! What a daunting process. So I guess you're hoping that a disability advocate will be able to address some of those issues and say, there's got to be a different set of forms for someone like yourself who is caring for a child whose condition is not going to change.
Well, they have to look at the system differently. I would love to get this job so I could properly put in the placements that need to be put in place, the way disability works for young adults compared to the way our system works for elderly. Right now, that's all under the same system, which makes no sense because elderly usually stays in their home for care, and young adults need to be being taken out of their home. They need to be moving. They need to be involved in things. I can't. Last year when I was working, I barely got enough home care to work, and I'm a single mother. So I didn't have anything extra and then they don't cover because of his condition. Michael's condition, he is the only one in this province that has it. And there are only 73 cases worldwide.
Oh, I think I know the condition you're talking about. Yes. Yeah, very rare.
Yeah, it's called PUF60. There's no actual name on it. It's just a genetic brand name that. Yeah. That's how it's referenced. And it can reflect people like Michael's. We didn't know any of this when he was born. Michael was born, the heart condition that he has is also very rare. So, when he was born, they only gave him a 33% chance to make it just from the heart condition, not from anything else.
So the fact that he's with you now is testament to, the level of care that you've been providing him.
I've never left aside. And I would love to help everybody else. I have had such a hard trouble since he turned 18 trying to understand the adult system. It is so hard to deal with everybody. There's nothing connected. I'm repeating myself over and over. Nobody, it is absolutely ridiculous the way the system is working right now. I don't know. The person that's coming in has a big job to fill.
Yeah. And it's going to need, it's not just an advocate, but they're going to need a full-on staff.
Well, they need a full-on staff, and they need someone that understands, like, what a person with disabilities needs. Like, my child is unique, and they're going to run into that. There are some cases that run, like, perpendicular to each other, but a lot of cases don't, and you need room for that to open up and expand so that people can find the right loopholes. Right now, like the things that are being offered to be covered, like I'm fighting for it, and I shouldn't have to fight the government. If the programs are put in place, I shouldn't have to fight to get that funding. I shouldn't have to do that. The funding should be laid out in front of me, and all I should do is have to fill it out, and then they tell me, yes, you qualify for this program. Yes, you qualify for that. This one you don't qualify. That one you do qualify for. This is what he qualifies for. This is what he gets. Instead, I'm calling this one, and I'm calling someone else, and I'm calling someone else, and nobody knows the other person, and, like, he's 21, going to be 21 in August, and he still doesn't have all of his medications covered.
Wow.
I'm still paying out of pocket.
Wow. Wendy,
for medications.
I appreciate your call, but it's just one example of the gaps that need to be filled when it comes to how we treat people in this society, and a disability advocate is going to have an awful big portfolio before them. Wendy, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for listening, and it's my first call-in, so I hope I got my point across.
You did a great job, by the way. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye. Bye. And it just goes to show that a parent of a child with a disability is not just a caregiver, they're also an advocate, which is, and she's a perfect example of that. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to speak with Linda right after this. And we are back. We're going now to Linda. You're on the air. Hi, Linda.
Well, good morning, Linda. How are you this morning?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I want to share kind of a little good news, I guess, with your listeners this morning. A celebration that's coming up that we do a couple of times a year. We're the Royal Ruby Bells Red Hat Society. Oh. And we're inviting all Red Hatters or those looking to experience what we do in this vibrant sisterhood. And it's going to be an afternoon of music, friendship, and celebration. That's kind of what we do. This particular event is Hats, Heritage, and Harmonies with Hamilton Town, and it's going to be happening on Saturday the 18th of April from 2 to 5 p.m. At McNiven's Pub and Eatery here in St. John's in Airport Heights. And kind of a little background, Linda, on the Red Hat Society. Our particular chapter, the Royal Ruby Bells, has been in existence. Now we're in our 16th year here in St. John. And so we gather a couple of times a year publicly. We gather lots of times in between, but publicly we do huge events. And the purpose is just so that we can get together and celebrate who we are. We connect through laughter, music, fun. We dance, we sing, we do poetry, we do all things that make people feel good. And this is going to be another opportunity for us to do that. We dress in our regalia is red and purple, and we all wear red, beautiful red hats, and any regalia you want to enjoy with that. People bring their table paraphernalia. They decorate their tables at McNiven's. Hamilton Town performs some lively tunes. We have sing-alongs, and we just celebrate a sisterhood. And in this particular event, we're going to be celebrating a little bit about heritage in our province. We have prize draws. We do all these really good things. And this is our first official event for 2026 this year. So I wanted to share that with your listeners.
Sounds like a great bit of fun. If anybody is listening and says, hey, I want in on this, how can they participate?
The simplest thing to do, we usually pack the house when we do this, but we love to have newcomers come and find out what we're all about. So I said, we do have a Facebook page. We're called the Royal Ruby Bell, so you'll find us on Facebook, and they can reach out to us. We always suggest if you want to come along and share what we do, we kind of ask that you do dress in the colors of red and purple. We open it up, but we suggest that you call ahead and reserve a seat just to be on the safe side. Because there's limited capacity. Obviously, the last event we had over 130 people in attendance.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. It's it's an opportunity. The organization, we're the largest international social group of women in the world.
Well, that's fantastic.
There's over 20,000 chapters in the world.
Amazing. Well, Linda, all the best now with your first event of the season coming up in April. We'll be letting people know more about it in the days to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and you're certainly welcome to come along. We'll get you a red hat and get you all donned out, and you can listen to some fabulous music by Hamilton Sound, get your toes tapping and your hands clapping, all about having a good time for no reason, just because we can.
It sounds like a time. Linda, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Linda. I appreciate the time. Take care.
Bye-bye. Thanks, everyone, for your contributions today. We'll be talking to you again now tomorrow.